Good afternoon, all. On behalf of IoT Academy, we welcome you all for the first session of National Level Faculty Development Program on Research Article and Research Funding Proposal Writing. Let me introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. Prem Kumar Manoharan. Dr. Prem Kumar Manoharan is currently working as an Associate Professor, Department of EEE, Dayananda Sagar College of Engineering, Karnataka. His qualifications include BE Electrical and Electronics, ME Applied Electronics, and PhD from Anna University, Chennai. He has over 14 years of teaching experience and he has published more than 100 technical articles in various national, international, peer-reviewed journals such as IEEE, Springer and Taylor and Francis, with over 1,200 citations at an H index of 18. He has been granted 7 patents by IPR India and IPR Australia. He has also written 3 textbooks titled Linear Integrated Circuits, Electrical Machines, and Artificial Intelligence and Intelligent Systems for Beginners. Dr. Prem Kumar is also serving as an editor, reviewer for leading journals such as IEEE, IET, and Taylor and Francis. His current researches include optimization techniques, BMS for electric vehicles, and DC converters for renewable energy systems. He is also a member of various professional bodies such as IEEE and ISTE. We welcome you, sir. And with this, we hand over the session to Dr. Prem Kumar Manoharan. So please.
So thank you very much, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. So first of all, I would like to thank the IoT Academy for providing this opportunity. And I would like to thank my own institute for allowing me to deliver or to share my experience with the people like you. So I'll just share the slide with you first, then I'll start my session. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Sir. Yeah, okay. So once again, I welcome you all for the national level FDP on research article and research funding proposal writing. And this wonderful FDP is organized by the Innovation Online Training Academy, Tamil Nadu. And in today's session, what I'm going to discuss is research article writing for Scopus and Web of Science journals. I myself, Dr. Prem Kumar from Dayananda Sagar College of Engineering, Bangalore. So what I'll be discussing in today's discussion is, so first I'll be talking about how to write a quality research paper. So first I just want to differentiate what is research papers and what is a review paper. And I'll be giving some guidelines to prepare the research paper. And after preparing the research paper, so we have to submit to the journal. So we have to select the proper journal for the field what you have written. So I'll be telling you or else I'll be giving you some kind of guidelines how to select a proper journal for your paper. And what are the tools required for writing a paper? Okay, some kind of research tools. So that everyone knows that most of the people will be using the Word, Microsoft Office, or the LaTeX. So apart from that, for graphics and all, what kind of tools the people will be using for the research purpose. So that I'll be giving you what kind of research tools are available. Then I'll be talking about the citations. So what are citations and what are the importance of citation? Then how to improve your own citations. So that I'll be discussing. And finally, I'll be discussing with you people with regard to the research profiles, what the people have to use it. Okay, what the people have to have it. So that also I'll be discussing in today's session. So first I'll be discussing what is the importance of the publication. So as everyone knows that nowadays the publication, it's a key word for the most of the people, for the teaching faculty and for the research scholars, MTech scholar, whatever, whoever it is. So the publications are very important nowadays. So because the most of the institutions are ranked based on the research publication. That's why even the most of the institutions are forcing the people or forcing the teaching fraternity to publish papers. So that is actually the primary importance of the publication that I can say. So apart from that, so we have some kind of professional importance of why we have to go for the publication. So the first one, what I can say is, the dissemination of the research findings. So I'm doing a research, and if that research is proper, or whether this research will be useful for someone else or what, so that can be, that can be. That gap can be filled with the help of the dissemination of the research findings. You do research and you do some kind of experimentation, you have some kind of findings with you, and if you disseminate it, then the people will start to use it, and people start to understand the technology what you people have used it. So, and next one is ethical mandate. Some of the researches are funded by some kind of funding agencies, and when you take any fundings from the agencies, obviously it is the mandatory thing from the funders. Okay, you have to go for some kind of publication. So obviously it is a ethical mandate, and the enhance the visibility of the research. Obviously when you do research on the particular topic, so if you want to increase your own visibility, and if you want to increase your own research visibility, obviously you have to go for the publications. And the maintain the public trust, and in the research transparency, that is also very important. The research transparency is very, very important nowadays. The most of the people, the people are involving in the plagiarism, and other people are copying some others work and they are publishing it. So that kind of research transparency is there, means obviously the people will trust your research. So obviously for that purpose the publications are required. And finally, as you all know, that to increase your promotion opportunities, and to increase the profile, to get the fundings from the funding agency, obviously these publications are required. Apart from this, as you know, the mandate for the PhD scholars and MTech scholars, that you have to publish papers. Unless you publish papers, yes, obviously you cannot get the degree. Even the UGC has some kind of relaxation now, but it's all up to the supervisor. So obviously if you want some kind of the ethical research, then obviously you have to go for the publication. Without publication, you may not be knowing that the research what you did is correct or wrong, right? So for that purpose, obviously you have to go for the publications. And what is a research paper and what is a review paper? So the review paper is nothing but, as you know, that it's a kind of reviewing a certain the field, or certain component, or certain area, or some kind of gap. So for example, if I have a solar photovoltaic system, so I'll be reviewing the sort of solar photovoltaic system, what kind of materials are used, what are the different materials, what are the different efficiencies delivered by the each material. So if I do some kind of reviewing the particular matter, then that will comes under the review paper. So the people, the writing review paper is tougher than the research paper. That the people, they may not know it, I think. So writing review paper is not simple thing, because to write the review papers, at least you have to refer 100 to 200 papers. So then from each paper you have to note down what kind of methodology they have used it, what technology they have used it, what are the findings, what are the challenges, what are the drawbacks, what are the advantages. All these things you have to take it from a single paper, then only you can prepare the review paper. But today my focus is only about the research paper. So the research paper, it's nothing but it is a specific to the particular thing. Okay, so I can say it is the in-depth analysis of the particular work, and the evaluation of that respective work, and the interpretation of the same work, okay, with the help of the empirical evidences. The empirical evidences, it may be through the simulation, or it may be through the hardware experimentation. So based on all these kind of evidences, yes, I'll be performing some kind of in-depth analysis, and then I'll be evaluating it, whether it is proper or not, whether it is improving the performance or not. So that kind of, if you keep everything in a single paper, then we can call the paper as a research papers. So as everyone knows, the research papers are the foundations of the modern science, and the most effective way to share the information across the wide network. So obviously, as I discussed earlier, writing review paper is tough, but the writing research paper requires more knowledge. So though the the research paper writing is simple, but without in-depth knowledge about a particular thing, yes, obviously you cannot write the research paper. Okay, so that's what is the brief difference between the research paper and the review paper. Okay, so suppose if I take if I want to publish one a research paper. Okay, and what should be the length of the research paper? That is also nowadays it's very important, because yeah, as you all know that we have so many publishers around the world, right? So for example, the topmost publisher is IEEE. We have, and the MSC is there, and elsewhere is there, Springer is there, Taylor and Francis, Wiley is there. So like that, so many publishers are there. In each publisher, we have the clusters of journals for each and every field of research. For example, if it is a computer science, they have computer cluster, and if it is for electrical and electronic engineer, they have a separate cluster for the electrical and electronic engineer. So we have so many publishers and so many journals under these publishers, but each journal is having its own restrictions. They have one their constraints. Okay, then you should know what are their constraints and what is the optimal way to write the paper. What should be the length of the paper, what should be the number of words in the paper, so that you should know. So once you know it, then when you write the paper, yes, you can restrict yourself within that constraint. So that's what, see here, when you go for any publications, there is a multiple options, like you can go for research paper publication, review paper publication, short communications, letters, editorials. As you know, the research paper, obviously it will be around 20 to 25 pages, I can say, the nominal papers. Okay, and the review papers, obviously it will go around 30 to 40 pages. Okay, so I'm not talking about the words, I'm just talking about the pages. And a short communication, if you take a short communication, it will not cross even 3 pages, 3 to 4 pages. Okay, then the letters, it will be as just a single page, and the editorial also, it's a kind of a single page publication. So we have different ways of publishing the paper. Okay, each one is having their own constraint. So for example, if you want to write any research paper, the typical number of words for the research paper is only about 4 to 8,000 words. Okay, as you know, even if you take the IEEE transactions and all, they have the page restrictions, like it should not cross 8 pages. Actually, as you know that in IEEE there is a two-column format. In the two-column format, it should not exceed 8 pages. So they have the page restriction. But if you see some elsewhere journals, they have the word restrictions, like it should not cross 7,000 words, it should not cross 8,000 words. Okay, then what is the optimal numbers? So that's what is listed here. So the optimal numbers is only about 4,000 to 8,000 words when you write any research paper. But for the short papers or the short communication, it should not be more than 2,000 words. But in case if you write any kind of review papers, yes, obviously it will be more number of words, because you'll be reviewing so many papers and you'll be listing so many references. Obviously, it will cross at 12,000 words. So these are all the optimal numbers what I have given, but this is true only for few journals, because the few journals, they don't have any kind of restrictions, they don't have any kind of page restriction, there won't be any kind of word restriction. So in those kind of journals, you can go with even 100 pages of research paper also. Okay, so these are all the certain restrictions you people have to follow. So this is the optimal numbers what I have given. Okay, and how to write a research paper? Yes, obviously you should know in what field you are going to do the project, and what field you are going to do a research. You should understand the assignment, or you should understand the field of research, and choose your topic. So you may take the broad area of the research. In that, you have to be specific, because it's a research paper, means, as I told, it is a specific to certain things, right? So obviously you have to choose your topic, and then once you select the topic, okay, what first thing you have to do is you have to do a proper literature survey. Okay, once you do the proper literature survey, so as I told, for the research paper, at least you read some 30-40 papers. That is 30-40 papers, in the sense why I'm giving this count is this 30-40 is nothing but the paper which is related to your research. Okay, it is not like some papers, if you read it, that also will be a reference. No, it's not like that. When you select a proper topic, so specific to that topic, you have to download the relevant papers. You refer some 30 to 40 papers and do a proper literature study. Then from the literature study, what you people have to do is you have to write the research statement, okay, or we can say problem statement. Okay, once the problem statement is done, then what you have to do is you have to propose. So from the problem statement, what we can do is we know the what is the gap from the literature study. You can find the gap. To fill the gap, you'll be writing the problem statement, and to how to address that statement, how to address that problem. Yes, obviously you'll be proposing some kind of methodology. All right, so that methodology you have to implement it, and you have to test that methodology through a simulation, or it may be through the hardware experimentation. So once everything is done, okay, whatever you decided to do, you did everything, and you have experimental findings with you. Then once everything is ready with you, then what you people have to do is you have to write a research paper outline. Okay, that I'll be telling you what should be the outline for the research papers. Okay, you have to write the research paper outline. Once the research paper outline is done, then next what you have to do is write the first draft. Okay, so the first draft, as per the outline what you have formulated, you write the paper. Okay, whatever you know, you just write it. So that will be a rough draft, or we can say it is a first draft. Okay, once the first draft is done, okay, what you have to do is you have to cite your sources correctly. So when you're writing the paper, obviously when you do some kind of research, you'll be referring so many papers, right? So when you refer some papers, when you quote some kind of statements from each paper, obviously you have to cite the paper. You have to cite it, and you have to list it in the references. So this is very much important. Once this is done, okay, then what you have to do is you have to go for proofreading. Okay, this proofreading, as if you take the research paper, there are two areas are there. One is a technical area, other one is the language area, right? So you have to do proofreading with respect to the technicality, with respect to the language. Okay, so to do a technical proofreading, just give it to your supervisor, or give it to your peers, or give it to your team members. Okay, and just ask them to read it, and if any kind of mistake is there, you just correct it. Okay, the next one is the language proofreading. The language proofreading may be done by any native English speaker. Suppose if you don't know any people from the native English speaking country, obviously what you can do is you can ask the language professors to do the language proofreading. Okay, so these are the things you people have to do to write a research paper. And what should be the outline of the research paper? Okay, so that I'll be listing it here. Okay, so the basic structure of any research paper should be like IM or AD. Okay, that is IM or AD that you have to follow. Okay, what is that? What is that IM or AD? So the IM or AD is nothing but the first one is the introduction. The next one is methods or the methodology. Okay, the next one is results and discussions. Okay, results and discussion. This is very, very important. Okay, because whatever the methodology you propose, that validation or the verification is done, and that is discussed in the results and discussion section. So this is very important part, and I can say it is the heart of the paper, that research paper, I can say. Okay, then author should state the what is the problem they want to address. Okay, for example, if you do some kind of research in the machine learning, so for what purpose that machine learning you are going to use? The machine learning is a general term. It's a kind of a technology. So that technology, for what purpose it is available, and for what purpose you are going to use it, and in what way this machine learning is going to resolve your problem. So that should be there in the introduction section. Okay, then in the machine learning also we will be having so many algorithms. So what you'll be doing is you'll be taking a certain algorithm and you want to solve your problem, right? So then the problem statement, problem formulation, and the algorithm development, that will be comes in the methodology section. Okay, once it is done, the problem is formulated, okay, and the algorithm is developed, then what I'll be doing now, I'll be applying the algorithm to that particular problem, and I'll be observing the results. Okay, so I'll be doing the multiple experiments and multiple case studies, multiple scenarios. I'll be taking the results. So once the results are taken, you have to analyze the results critically. Okay, you should not write like, so this figure shows this and this table shows this. That kind of statement, you should not use it. Okay, you have to analyze the results critically. The critically in the sense, if you have the improved performance, why the performance is improved, you have to analyze it critically, and you have to prove that because of so and so reason, and my methodology gives a better result. So like that, you have to do a critical analysis, and that discussion should be there in the discussion sections. Okay, then finally you have to conclude the paper, that everyone knows it, right? And the references, as you know, the references, you should be a proper references. Okay, don't cite or don't list any reference paper which is not relevant to your paper. Okay, so that will spoil the reputation of the paper. So that point, you keep it in your mind. Whatever the references you're adding, whatever the references you are citing, that should be relevant to your own research. Okay, just keep this point in your mind. Then, yes, so I'll be listing here. You can see that the first one, as you know, the title. And for the title also, there's a limitation. So the proper title or the good title will not cross 10 words. Okay, so whenever you're writing a title for the paper, so make sure that it should not cross the 10 words. Okay, and also when you write the title, and be specific to the methodology. Okay, don't write any title in general. Okay, so be specific to the research. Based on that, you provide the title. Okay, once the title is done, then you go to the abstract section. Okay, in the abstract section, what you have to do is you have to write the brief summary of the complete research. Okay, so in the abstract, what you people have to write is the first 1 or 2 sentences. You have to introduce your research, and next 3-4 sentences you should discuss about the primary novelty and the primary contribution of your own research. Then after that, how it is going to solve the problem, and what is the experimental finding. Okay, so these are all the information should be there in the abstract. So when you write the abstract, you keep it in your mind that it should not cross 150 to 200 words. So these numbers are based on my own experiences with the reputed publishers like IEEE, Springer, Elsevier, and Taylor and Francis Wiley. Okay, so if you go with some kind of the local journals, and also there's no restrictions. But when you write a professional papers, obviously you have to follow certain rules and regulations. So that's what these numbers are based on my own experience, and my not only from my research publication experience. I'm doing a review of so many papers, even with transactions, and even I'm the editor of few journals. So based on my editorial experiences and based on my reviewing experience, I'm just listing all these numbers here. Okay, and the after abstract, you have to write the keywords. Actually, it is not listed here. The keywords also very important, and you have to list 4 to 5 keywords. And the keyword should just be specific to the research, because most of the editors, they will assign the reviewers based on the keywords. Okay, if the keywords are not proper, the paper will go to the wrong reviewer. Okay, so keep this point in your mind. Then after writing the abstract, you should write the introduction part. Okay, in the introduction part, first introduce your research. Then after that, you do a thorough literature study. Okay, do thorough literature study. Once the literature study is done, then in the introduction section itself, you try to analyze the gap. Okay, once the gap is done, then you have to discuss about the what are the main contributions. You have to list it. Okay, then once it is done, the organization of the paper, that should be included in the introduction section itself. Okay, so in the introduction section, what you'll be discussing is the brief introduction about your research, a thorough literature study, the gap analysis, okay, and the contributions, and the organization of the paper. Everything will come in the introduction section alone. The next one is the methodology. Okay, the methodology, you don't need to discuss the known facts. Okay, whatever the unknown facts in the sense what you're trying to propose. Okay, for the research what you have selected. Okay, so that you have to explain in the methodology section. So whatever the generic terms are there, you please don't explain the generic terminologies in the methodology section. Once the methodology is done, then next we have to go for the results and discussions. Okay, in the results and discussions, what you have to do is, as I told you, you have to consider the different case studies. For the different case studies, you have to analyze the results comprehensively, and you have to do the critical analysis, and you have to write the findings of the each case study, and you have to write the limitations of the research what you have proposed it, and you have to discuss about the challenges when you do this research. Everything need to be discussed in the discussion section. Okay, then once the discussion section is over, there's obviously you have to discuss the conclusion. Okay, the conclusion also briefly introduce what you did. Okay, and what are the things you have used, what kind of methodology you have used it, what different case studies you have used it for each case study, what are the findings, and what is the future scope. Okay, so that need to be discussed in the conclusion section. Once this is done, the next goes to the acknowledgement. Okay, if you have any funding requirement, if you have any fundings, okay, if you are taking any kind of uh, the APC charges from any other funding agencies, so that need to be acknowledged properly. Okay, even you can acknowledge your own institution also for providing the laboratory facilities and all. Okay, so that need to be included in the acknowledgement section. The next one is the references. As we discussed, the references should be a related reference, and for the research paper, minimum number of references should be 25, and the minimum number of references for the review papers are 100. Okay, these are all the things from my own experience, as I told already. Okay, and the tables and figures, avoid unnecessary tables and figures. Okay, suppose if you convey something through the figure, that should not be listed in the table. If you have something you are discussing through the table, that should not reflect in the figure. Okay, so whatever is unnecessary, you just remove everything and keep only the important things. Okay, so these are all with related to the technicality, right? So then one more thing is there, that is called a cover letter. Okay, so the cover letters are very important. The cover letters are very important because most of the time your papers will be pre-reviewed by the editor-in-chief. Okay, what the editor-in-chief will not read the paper completely. What he will do is he will read the cover letter, and if the content what he kept in the cover letter is within the scope of the journal, then they will send the paper for the review. So it is always spend some time, spend some useful time to write the proper cover letter. In the cover letter, what you have to write is you specify what's the title of the paper. Okay, and just give a brief summary. It may not cross 2-3 sentences. Brief summary about your paper. Okay, then you have to discuss about the scope of the paper for that particular journal. Okay, suppose if you have cited any papers from that respective journal, that also you can tell that. Okay, so from the two we can say that some of the papers are referenced from the journal. Like that, if you put some words, then the editor-in-chief will understand that, okay, the paper is falls within the scope of the journal. Or else, if these informations are not there, what the people will do is they will do a desk rejection. Okay, to avoid desk rejections, try to write a proper cover letter. Okay, so this is what the thing to be did in the paper. Okay, and a quick checklist. Okay, so before submitting the paper, you have to check all these things. Okay, there should be the structural edit, and there should be a language edit. Okay, then the structural edit, what are the things you have to check is your research statement is clear and concise, is your paper is well organized, and there should be a flow between the beginning and the ending. Okay, there should be a logical transitions. You should not write one thing here and one thing somewhere else. There should not be any chaotic organization of the paper. Okay, and do your ideas follow a logical sequence in each paragraph? Okay, so when you write the content, okay, there should be a logical sequences. Okay, so you don't write whatever you know. Okay, write whatever is required. Okay, so that is what's very important. Okay, then have you used concrete details and facts and avoid generalization? Because it is a research paper, the generalized discussion should not be there in the paper. That need to be avoided. Okay, and do your argument support and prove your thesis or the paper, whatever you did. Okay, so whatever you're claiming as a novelty, that need to be proved through the empirical evidences, as we discussed earlier. Okay, and have you avoided repetitions? So you see, some of the people, what they will do is whatever the content is there in the abstract, the same thing they'll copy and paste it in the conclusion also. That should not be done. Okay, so the content of the abstract and the conclusion should be different, but though the claims are same, the applications are same. Okay, that should be written in some other format. Okay, you should not use any kind of repetitive words, or you should not keep any repetitive sentences. Okay, all your sources are properly cited. Okay, whatever the statement you have taken from some other papers, that whether it is cited properly or not, that also you have to check. And finally you have to check the plagiarism. Okay, so the plagiarism is also very important. Then this is all the structural edit. The next one is the language. So you have to check, is your language is clear and specific? Okay, do your sentence flow smoothly and clearly? Have you avoided filler words or the phrases? Okay, and have you checked the proper grammar, spelling, and punctuation? If you feel any difficulty with regard to this language, as I told you already, you try to contact any of the English professors, or if anyone knows in the native English speaking countries, or you just ask them to do a proper language proofreading, so that you can avoid all these mistakes. Okay, and what are the common mistakes the people will do? Okay, so that also I listed here. If you read the few things, the stated aim of the paper is superfluous or vague. Okay, you should not claim too much. Okay, when you write any kind of research paper, you don't claim too much. Okay, if it is a reasonable claim, then it is okay. You should not claim superfluous. So that is very important thing in the research paper writing. And the structure of the paper should not be chaotic. Okay, it should be, as I told, there should be a logical sequence between each and everything. Okay, and you have to check the number of words, number of lines, everything, and the results are properly reported or not, whether the results are critically analyzed or not, that also you have to check. The people mostly they will do this kind of mistakes. Okay, as I told, if something you are explaining through the text, that should not reflect in the table, and that should not reflect in the figure. Okay, something if you want to convey through the figure, you should convey only through the figure. Okay, if you want to convey through the text, only use text alone. Okay, don't keep both. It's against a kind of a repetition. Okay, and one more thing is the references. That is very important. So as I told, though you are selecting the related references, and that references should not be outdated references. Okay, it is always better choice if you list the references. If you list the references from last 3-4 years published papers, then you will be in the safer zone. Okay, that point also you keep it in mind. Don't refer the very old papers, and don't say that compared to those papers, our my work is good. So because so many years gone, so many work came, so obviously you cannot compare your own research with the outdated references. Okay, always try to keep the reference papers which is published just last 2-3 years, like that you keep it. Okay, apart from that, so many things are there, so that you can refer it. Okay, so now the choosing a journal. So in general, how you can say how to choose a journal is, first thing is you have to check the journal scope. That is very important. Okay, you check. I have written the paper in terms of materials. If I see, if I'm searching, if I'm submitting the paper with related to some kind of computer science, so obviously the scope will not match, right? So the thing is, first thing you check whether the journal scope is matching with your research or not. That is one thing. The next one is the prestigious. The prestigious in the sense it is based on the history of the journal, or it is based on the indexing details of the journal. Okay, you can select what journal you can go for it. Okay, and also you have to check the time frame of the each journal. Okay, how long how long the publisher takes to publish the paper. Okay, for the first decision, how long they are taking, from the decision to publication, how long they are taking. So based on this only you have to select the paper journal. Okay, the next one is the charges. Okay, because nowadays the people are moving towards the open access. When they go towards the open access, yes, they are charging too much. Is those charges are affordable by the author or not? So that you have to check. Okay, so if it is affordable, or if you have some kind of fundings to support that article processing charge, yes, obviously you can go for it, or else better to go with the subscription based journals. Okay, so based on these simple criteria, you can select it. And how to select the respective journal for the your topic, that I'll give a small demonstration later. Okay, then as I told, the prestigious status of the journalist decided by the indexing databases. Okay, so we have so many indexing databases, okay, out of which the three are well-known indexing databases. As everyone knows that we have Web of Science, we have Scopus, and we have Google Scholar. Apart from that, we have so many things that I have listed here. So if you take the Web of Science, as in that Web of Science also, we have different levels of Web of Science indexing. Okay, so the first one is, the top one is SCI indexed, okay, that is Science Citation Index Expanded, okay, that is the top level. And the next one is SSCI, that is Social Science Citation Index, okay, that is actually the somewhat lesser, because this will comes for the humanities, okay, the social science and the humanities, it will come, the SSCI will come, okay, and for all the science and engineering related, the SCI indexing will be coming, okay. Then ESCI, it is the Emerging Source Citation Indexes. That is nothing but, it is the first level to get the SCI, okay. So when the people, or when the publisher applying for the SCI, first they will give ESCI statement, ESCI status they'll give, and they will observe the journal for 2 3 years. Then based on the quality, then they will promote to SCI. So I can say it is level 1 for the SCI. Okay, and the next one is the conference proceeding citation indexes. Okay, suppose if your conference papers are indexed by it, then obviously it will be included in the Web of Science. Okay, so as everyone knows that this Web of Science indexing is given by Clarivate Analytics. So just to 4 years back, it was handled by Thomson Reuters. Now after that, the Clarivate Analytics take over, and now the present days only these people are doing all these kind of analytics, and these people only give the proper impact factor of the journal. So you don't believe the impact factor whatever the listed in the local journals. Okay, that is they itself will give their own numbers. That is not the actual impact factor. Okay, the impact factor should be given only by the Clarivate Analytics, okay, only by the Web of Science journals. Okay, that you keep it in your mind. The next one is the Scopus. This Scopus is this indexing is given by the elsewhere. Okay, all the scientific, technical, and medical disciplines are indexed by the Scopus. Okay, so as I told, this is maintained by completely by elsewhere. Okay, the next one is a Google Scholar. So this Google Scholar, as everyone knows, it is maintained by Google. Okay, but the Google Scholar, it will index all the kind of write-ups. For example, if it is academic journal, or the books, or a conference paper, or thesis, or a dissertation, or preprints, abstracts, technical reports, whatever the paper, whatever the thing you are publishing, okay, so that will be indexed by the Google Scholar. But if you take Web of Science and Scopus, they have their own restrictions, so they will not violate those restrictions. Okay, they will be maintaining the quality. Okay, that's why every time the Web of Science is the top level, okay, and the next level is the Scopus, and the last level is what, the Google Scholar. Okay, so based on these indexing databases, you can select a proper journal for your respective paper. Okay, apart from that, I have listed so many things, but the majority of the people will focus only on these three aspects, so that's why I'm discussing only these three. Okay, and the threats of predatory journal, I'm not going to discuss much about the predatory journal. I just want to give some kind of glimpse about the predatory journal. So just be aware of this predatory journal. So every day you'll be getting some kind of emails that your paper is good, why can't you submit one paper to our journal, it will be at free of cost, like that. So many things, so many mails you'll be getting it, right? So please don't respond to those kind of emails. So maybe there is a possibility of predatory journals. Okay, the predatory journals are nothing but it is the cloned journal of the original journal. Okay, what they will do is they'll be opening the fake website, and when you Google it, for example, for example, if they have a journal called International Journal of Engineering, so this journal is there. For this journal, we have one fake website and we have one authenticated website. So when you type in the Google, it will show only the fake website first. So what the people will do, no, they will open the fake website and they will upload the paper in the fake website, and within 2 3 days you'll be getting a decision, and they'll be asking you to pay some $400 $500, and once you pay the money, immediately they'll publish the paper in online. Okay, once your paper is published in predatory journal, it is completely of no use. Keep it in your mind, because if you publish any papers in the predatory journals, your paper will not be indexed. Okay, your paper will not be counted, your paper will not be removed. Even if you request those your people also, they will not remove it. They will take a lot of ransoms from the people. Okay, so beware of the predatory journals. Okay, so you'll be getting so many mails, don't respond to it. Okay, you check whether the journal is genuine or not. You check the genuinity of the journal through the Scopus site, through the Web of Science, or through the Google Scholar. You check it. Once everything is proper, then you submit the paper to the respective journal. Okay, so be aware of this related journals. Okay. So now, as I told, the writing tools. So as we know that we have so many writing tools. The first one, the Microsoft Office. This is widely used writing tool for any of the writing, maybe a research paper, maybe a dissertation, or maybe a research proposal. The most of the people use Microsoft Office. But suppose if your the paper has so many mathematical expressions, the people will prefer to go with the LaTeX only. Okay, so as you know, the Microsoft Office is the commercial version and the LaTeX is the open source. So the most of the people will go with the LaTeX since it is open source. If we have the money and if we have the commercial version of the Microsoft Office, we can go with that. Okay. Suppose if you don't have Microsoft Office, but I want to use only the Office tool means, obviously you can go with Open Office and LibreOffice. Maybe those things are the open access or the open source tools, so you can use it. Okay. But for the professional writing, what I suggest is you try to go with LaTeX if you have so many mathematical equations. Okay, if you have any kind of scientific expressions are there, it is better to go with LaTeX. Okay, then for all the generic writing, the engineering papers, it is you can go with the Microsoft Office. So these are all the preferred one. So this things everyone knows it. But here, what I want to do is I just want to list what are the different tools available for plotting or the drawing tools. Okay, so here you could see that I just listed so many tools, and now through these tools you can draw the figures for your research paper writing and even for your proposal writing as well. Okay, the first tool is a Microsoft Visio. So the name itself says it is done by Microsoft. Okay, so again it's a commercial version. Okay, so whatever, whether it is electrical drawing or the biotechnology drawing or it's a mechanical drawing or whatever the drawing it is, you can draw everything with Microsoft Visio. Okay, the next one is a draw.io. So I personally suggest a draw.io because the draw.io is having all the most of all the packages. Okay, the one advantage is it is completely of open source. Okay, so you have the online version of the tool and you can download the offline version of the tool also. It is very user friendly, it is very simple tool. So yes, I personally suggest to draw.io to plot all the drawings in the papers. Okay, then apart from that we have a, draw sort, inkscape. Okay, the GIMP things, Smartdraw again, this is a commercial version. Okay, Glyphic, Gacko. So all these are the online versions. But as I told, the Microsoft Visio is a professional tool, but it is a commercial version. The Draw.io is also a professional tool, but it's an open source version. So you decide whatever you want it. If you have a commercial version of the Visio, you just try to go with Visio. If you don't have, yes, it's better to go with Draw.io. Okay, so these are all the reference drawing tools. And the next one is the referencing tools. What are the referencing tools are available? Okay, we have so many referencing tools. I just listed the few referencing tools. So in that, I just listed Zotero, Mendeley, EndNote, RefWorks, Citavi, Paperpile, and Dossier, everything. So in that, the Mendeley is a free version. Okay, for certain space for it is having some memory restrictions. Okay, so with the up to that memory restrictions, it is completely free. The EndNote is there. EndNote is a commercial version. As you know, the Mendeley is released by elsewhere, and the EndNote is released by Clarivate Analytics. Okay, then apart from that, we have Zotero, Citavi, Paperfile, and Dossier. Okay, in that Zotero and Dossier is a free version. Okay, and but the user will feel some kind of difficulty when they use the tools. What I personally suggest is you try to go with the Mendeley. Since it is a free version up to the certain memory, yes, it is very easy to use and it is very user friendly. And in the Mendeley also lot of plugins they have given, like Mendeley web importer, Mendeley the referencing manager, Mendeley site, Mendeley desktop. So they have given the so many versions of the Mendeley, and you can easily cite on the go. So that's what I can say in a simple word. So it's cite on the go. We have to use the Mendeley. Okay, you can use Mendeley. So hardly if you spend maybe 1 week time, you'll be familiar with mentally, so that you can start using them mentally for all your referencing. Because if you don't use the kind of tools, everything like referencing, citing, everything you have to do it manually. If these tools are there, everything is automated. So you'll be reducing, I can say, the 50% of effort you can reduce it with the help of the mentally. Okay, so that's what I'm just suggesting. Okay, so you have so many tools. I am suggesting mentally. Okay, and the statement of work and the conflict of interest. So when you submit any papers, you have to check any conflict is there, any financial conflict is there, any technical conflict is there. If anything is there, that need to be disclosed when you submit the paper itself. Okay, the next one is the author statement or the credit statement, I can say. So for example, in a paper, all some four or five authors are there. So each author's contribution is what, so that need to be disclosed in the paper. Because in the older days, the people have not asked all these author contributions and all, but nowadays in all the reputed journals, they are asking the author contribution. So what's the, if everyone is equally contributed, you have to state that all authors are equally contributed towards writing, methodology, concept, okay, software, visualization, okay, validation. So yeah, all the authors are equally contributed. Like that, you have to give the statement. Okay, this is also very important when you submit the papers, especially to the elsewhere and Springer journals. They'll ask all these details. Okay, then submit your manuscript if everything is fine. Okay, if everything is fine, okay, I'll be submitting. I want to submit a paper. So when you want to submit the paper, then one question will come to the mind that, okay, can I submit a paper in 2 different journals or multiple journals? Okay, so that you should not do that. Okay, you should not do multiple submission. That is completely unethical. Even nowadays, they have a lot of checkpoints. If you do a multiple submissions, if the publisher wants to, if the publisher knows about this multiple submission, they will ban you to publish the paper in that particular publisher, that particular journal. Okay, keep this point in your mind. Don't go for multiple submission. Submit the paper to one journal, wait for the decision. Okay, then once it is positive, go with that. Once it is negative, then go to the next journal. Okay, don't do a simultaneous submission to many journals. Okay, it is totally unethical, and definitely the people will caught it, and once they caught, definitely they'll ban you to publish a paper in that respective journal. Okay, and manuscript should be scanned for the plagiarism. Okay, when they go for plagiarism, obviously the question will come to us that what tools we can use it. Okay, so we have 2 professional tools. One is the authenticate, the next one is the Tarnitin. Both the tools are professional tools. Both the tools are professional tools. So you can go, but the problem with these tools are, no, it is a commercial version. It is a commercial version. So you have to pay money and you have to get the subscription. Once you have subscription, yes, you can scan it. Okay, but we have so many online plagiarism tools are available. If you scan your paper through the online plagiarism tools, definitely 100% of chances are there to steal your data. So keep this point in your mind. Okay, so it is better to scan your paper with a professional plagiarism tool such as Authenticate or Target. Okay, yes, obviously you need to have a subscription, you need some money to do this, but there is no other way. Okay, so apart from this, so many some other professional tools also available, but I felt this is somewhat cheaper than the other tools. Okay, that's why I just listed only these tools. Okay. Okay, now I'm ready to submit. If I want to submit, where to submit, which journal to submit? Okay, this question will come to us. So when this question comes to us, yes, the publishers, they made this task easy. So what they did is they kept so many websites, okay, so many the sites to check the applicability of your paper for the respective journal. Okay, so I just listed here. You can see that IEEE publication recommender. This is a site. Here you can check all the IEEE papers which is related to your work. Okay, and elsewhere journal finder is there, Springer journal suggested is there, journal suggested Taylor and Francis is there, Wiley journal finder is there. So these are all, these first 5 is with respect to the journals. Okay, it means these sites will list only the journal from the Wiley publisher. But these two are the common sites. Okay, here you can check, it will list whatever the publisher it is, it will list. Okay, but to have the uh, the proper the information, I suggest to use only the professional sites. Okay, I'll just give one small demonstration in this aspect. Okay, so what I do is I'll just open one elsewhere publication recommender. Okay, elsewhere journal finder. So if you Google it, okay, you will get the site. You can see that journal finder elsewhere. So just open this site. Okay, in this site, what you people have to do is you have written the paper, right? Once you written the paper, yes, you know that you have the title, right? So just copy this title and paste it here. Okay, and the next one is you have the abstract also, right? So when you have the abstract, that abstract also you copy and paste it. Okay, when you have an abstract, you copy it and paste it here. Okay, so once it is done, okay, what you do is you just click find journals. Okay, just click find journals. So it will list, this site will list the respective journal for your paper. Okay, and here you see this journal recommended 49 journals. Okay, this publisher recommended 49 journal matching my paper. Okay, so here also you can see that the match score is also there. Then this is what the journal first it is suggesting, applied soft computing journal. Okay, and you can see that the match score is 100%, is pakka matching. Okay, and you can see the side score of the particular journal. So 12.4, it is too huge, it is too good journal. And you can see the impact factor. As I told, this impact factor is given by the Clarivate analytics, and you can see the acceptance rate of this paper, this journal. Okay, it is 17% acceptance rate. Okay, it's good, 70% is good. Okay, and you can see that the time to first decision, the time duration. So they will take a minimum 8 weeks to give the first decision. Okay, and once the publication decision is done, then from that decision to publication, they will take 3 weeks time. Okay, so likewise, you can check all the journals. Okay, you can check all the journals, see the paper title and the abstract, what I kept. It is also showing the energy report. So this is where I published. So this is one of my recent paper now in November 2022. It is published. You can see that this paper title and I kept the abstract. So I published in the energy reports. The same thing, you see that the recommender is also suggesting that match score is 5. You can see the site score is 4.5, and you see the impact factor of the paper what I published is for 4.937, and here you see the acceptance rate is 45. And for time for the first decision is 5 weeks, and time to publication is 7 weeks. But the one problem with this journal is it is completely of open access. You can see that this is completely open access, and here you can see that open access and yes is there. Yes means subscription, so you can publish paper at free of cost, or you can publish the paper at open access also. But this journal is having only option for open access. Okay, so this is what I publish. So in this way, what you can do is you can find the respective journal for your paper and you can submit. So once you select the journal, create a login credentials and submit the paper and go for it. So this is the way to find the respective journal for your paper. Okay, once you submit the paper, what will happen at the back end? Okay, so that also I'll give you here. Okay, once you submit the paper, your paper will be read by, or the cover letter will be read by the editor-in-chief. Okay, the editor-in-chief will look for the scope of the paper. If it falls within the scope of the journal, what he will do is he will assign a subject editor or the associate editor. Okay, the subject editor will see the complete technical content of the paper. Okay, if the technical content of the paper is good, okay, then what he will do is he will assign the reviewers. Okay, he will assign the reviewer. He will send the paper to the reviewers. Okay, if he or she feels that paper is not having the good technical content, then obviously he will reject the paper. Okay, once the papers goes to the review, then the reviewer will give the comments. The reviewer will give the comments like accept or minor revision, major revision, reject, resubmit, reject, does not encourage, don't encourage to resubmit, like that. So many comments they will give. So suppose if we give any kind of revisions, again that will be communicated to the author, and the author has to include the suggestions given by the reviewers, and you have to give the proper response to the reviewer comments, and again you have to submit the paper. Once the paper you submit, once the revision is submitted, again it will go to the associate editor. Again, the associate editor will call the same reviewer once again, or sometimes they will call the new reviewer also. Okay, again they will be doing reviewing, and as once the paper is matches all the questions, then obviously they will accept the paper, or else they will reject the paper. Okay, once the paper is accepted, it will go to the production department, and from the production department you will be getting some kind of mails with regard to the copyrights and with regard to the article processing charge, everything. If everything is done, then production process will start. Once the production is started, and they will send the proofreading copy. Then once you do the proofreading, then finally if you accept the final file, it will be published in online. Okay, so this is what the whole process will happen in the backend that we don't know. Okay, this is will happen at the backend. Okay, this is how the complete review process will happen. Okay, then we have to see whether it is accepted or rejected. If it is accepted, be happy. If it is rejected, go to the next journal. That's it. Okay, so don't worry, definitely, definitely your paper will be accepted. So one simple example I just want to tell you. I submitted one paper to the conference, one of the reputed conference in the European country. I submitted that paper, was rejected by the conference. The same paper, based on the comments I addressed it, okay, the same paper was published in one essay indexed journal, that is Q1 essay indexed journal. Okay, this is one of the simple example. Okay, don't worry, even if suppose if your paper is rejected, just include all the comments given by the reviewer, submit somewhere, you will get a better journal than what the people have rejected you. Okay, so don't worry if it is rejected. Okay, the next one is the citations. Okay, what is citations? Okay, what are citations, and what is the importance of citations, and how to increase your own citations, that I'll be telling you now. The citations, in the sense, it is nothing but it's a reference to a published or unpublished source that you consulted or that you referred, and you obtained some information from that paper while writing the paper. Okay, so this is what we call it as a citations. Okay, so if you go with citation, there is two common formats are there. We'll call it as APA format, and they'll call it as MLA format, or the IEEE format is also there. Okay, so here whatever is listed, it is the APA format. You can see that the author name is there, and the year of publication is there, and the title of the paper is there. The next one is the title of the journal will be there. What's the volume number of the paper? What's the issue number of the paper? What is the page number of the paper? So that will be there. So that will be listed in the references. But in the text, what you have to do, you have to cite. Okay, in the cite also, you'll be citing like this. So for example, this paper I just want to cite in the text. So this is what author name. So here you can see that Rodriguez 2003. So this is what the citation. This we call it as a citation, and this we call it as a references. Okay, so in any paper, whatever the paper it is, whether it is a research paper or the review paper, the proper citation is important. Okay, then importance of citations. Yes, so this is with regard to you people. Okay, so the previous slide, what I discussed is what do you mean by in general, what is citation, that I discussed. Okay, and here what I want to do is I want to discuss what are the importance of your own citations. Okay, so that's what here you can see that if your citations are, why you have to improve your citations. These are all the reasons why you have to improve the citation. The first one is the other researchers' ideas can be used to reinforce your argument and to strengthen your argument. And if you suppose if you take any content of the paper, and if you want to summarize, or if you want to paraphrase, or if you use any direct quotes, yes, obviously you have to cite it. And the only exception to this rule is, suppose if any kind of common knowledge is there. For example, if we have Ohm's law statement, no one can change it. So suppose if we use it, okay, you don't need to worry, you just cite it properly. Okay, you don't need to rephrase it. Suppose some technical terms are there. Okay, for example, efficiency is there, and power output is there. Something like some kind of technical terms are there, so that you don't need to rephrase it. That you can keep it as such. Only thing is the connecting words are there, that you have to rephrase it, and you have to use it, and you have to cite a proper references. Okay, so now how to increase your own citations, that I'll be telling you. The first one to improve your own citation is cite your past work when it is relevant to the new manuscript. So when you write any new paper, suppose if that paper is related to your old research, it is nothing wrong that you can include your old papers as a reference in the new paper. It is nothing wrong. Okay, but the numbers matters. Okay, so don't refer more than 2 3 papers in a paper, in a single paper. Okay, even if you did some 10 more than 10 papers in the same area. Okay, don't try to refer all the 10 papers, then the people call it as a self citation. Okay, so what you do is you take some 2 3 important paper which is more specific to the new paper, that you take it and you just include it in your new paper, so that you can increase your citation. This is first way. And the second way is carefully choose your keywords, because when the people search the relevant paper for their own research, they'll keep only the keywords and search it. Okay, so if your keywords are proper, definitely your paper will be listed in the Google search engine. Then obviously the people will start using your paper for the references. Okay, this is another way to increase your citation. And use the consistent name form of your name on all your papers. So whatever the paper you're publishing, in all the papers you keep the name in a proper format. Consistently you maintain the same name. Okay, for example, if you take my case, in some papers I'll be writing M Prem Kumar, in some papers I'll be writing Prem Kumar Manoharan, in some paper I'll be writing Manoharan Prem Kumar. It's all because of the journal mandate. I'll be giving these kind of names, but use consistent name so that the people will remember your name, so that the people will start search the papers based on your name. So if the names are not in a proper format, obviously you may lose the citations. Okay, and make sure that your information is correct. Okay, if the spelling, the metadata, the complete metadata, the affiliation, everything, you should keep it properly. Okay, and share your data. This is also another way to improve the citation. Nowadays the citations are improved because of this one only. Okay, share your data. Suppose if you write any software or the codes or the models or algorithms or methodologies, whatever is there. Okay, so those codes or the software, so you can deposit in any kind of repositories like GitHub, Mentally, Figshare, hardware, Harvard Dataverse, CodeOcean, IEEE data ports. So some kind of, so many repositories are there. Just deposit all these codes in the repository, and you share the code in the paper itself. Then definitely the people will start refer your paper, and they will start to cite your papers in their own work. Okay, and present your work at conferences, so that obviously you'll be getting a lot of networking. Then the people will come to know about your work, and the people start refer your papers. Okay, and try to share whatever you do, whatever you publish. Try to share all the publications in the social media. For example, share through Facebook or Twitter or Insta or Academia or ResearchGate, Mentally, wherever is possible. Okay, try to share. Okay, so that the people will start uh, they'll be knowing that, okay, this person is doing research in this particular area, so why can't we refer this paper? So like that you will get citations. Okay, and actively promote your work. Okay, once you publish it, don't sleep. Okay, just promote your work, so that definitely you'll be getting citations. Okay, because in future the citation matters. The people are doing publications. Okay, so when they do publication, what is the outcome of the publications? The outcome of the publications, what citations? So if your research is, definitely if it is quality enough, definitely you'll be getting citations. If more number of citations there, and you will be recognized as a somewhat a good researcher. Okay, I'm not saying that if high citation is highly reputed, it's not like that, but you will get some kind of reputation if we have more citations. Okay, and these are the other ways to increase the citation I just listed. I just share the slide with you people, you just refer it. So you just try to follow these guidelines, so definitely your citation will increase, because I followed these guidelines. That's why my citations are improved like anything. So in last 2 years my citation crossed 1,000. So it's because of I just followed these guidelines. Okay, and author profile. So if you are a researcher, if you are a teaching, if you are a teacher come researcher, so what you people have to do is you have to have these kind of profiles. Okay, the first one is ORCID ID, the next one is the researcher ID. So that will be given by the Bubbles or Web of Science. Okay, and the Scopus or ID profile. Okay, then Google Scholar ID, ResearchGate, Academia, Microsoft Academia, and your own personal website. If you have profiles here, and definitely the visibility of your research will be increased. Okay, ORCID ID, it is a mandate nowadays to submit a paper also. Okay, it's a unique ID to track your submissions, to track your peer reviews, to track your publications. This is a complete unique ID. Okay, even most of the journals, when you submit a paper itself, they'll be asking the ORCID ID. And the researcher ID is given by the Web of Science or the Clarivate Analytics. Okay, so here in this, it will be listing all your Web of Science journals. Okay, and the Scopus ID. So in the Scopus ID, okay, if you publish one paper in Scopus, obviously automatically for that respective author, one Scopus ID will be created. Then whenever you publish a paper in the Scopus Next journal, that will be included in that particular ID. Okay, once I see the ID, yes, I can see that how many papers are published in Scopus, that I can see. Okay, the Scopus ID will give only the Scopus Next papers in that profile. Okay, the Google Scholar, yes, you have to create a Google Scholar profile. Okay, if you have the institute email ID, because nowadays the people are asking the institute email ID. Once you have an institute email ID, you can create a Google Scholar. Obviously the Gmail is also required. Okay, then but for the verification purpose, they will be asking the institution email ID. Okay, unless if you have institution email ID, you cannot create a Google Scholar profile. But in older days it was not like that, but nowadays they made it as a mandate. Okay, once you create a Google Scholar profile, whatever the papers are indexed by Google Scholar, everything will be listed in the Google Scholar. Okay, the next one is a ResearchGate. I can say it is 200% right social media to share your profile or to share your research. Okay, you'll get lot of visibility if you share the research through the ResearchGate. Okay, so today itself, try to create a profile with ResearchGate. You can interact with the people around the world through the ResearchGate. That's what I can say. Okay, then Academia, it is also similar to the ResearchGate. Okay, and the Microsoft Academic ID is also there. This is done by the Microsoft. Okay, it's not much familiar, but the more familiar is the ResearchGate. Okay, then finally, if you have your own website, obviously your visibility will increase like anything. Okay, we have a lot of free website software. The online tools are there. You just use it and create your own website and update all your details over there, so that the visibility of your profile will increase like anything. And finally, I just want to acknowledge I acknowledge the contents of the other peers whose contents are being used to comprehend the subject matter, and I do so solely for academic purposes. I do not claim any ownership of any of the materials or the contents of the other peers. Okay, this acknowledgement I just want to give it, because what some contents I have used from some other papers and some from online sources I have taken. So this is only for the discussion purpose. It's not for the I'm not claiming any kind of ownership. Okay, so finally, I would like to thank you all people for patient listening. Okay, if you have any further doubts, okay, you can contact me at any time. Even you can refer my website also. So in my website, I'll be posting all my research details, and I have posted some codings also. I have posted some of the codings of my papers also. I posted some kind of materials also. I have shared it, and you can check all my publication details, everything over there. Okay, if you have any doubts at any time, you can contact me.
The
Yes,
session is
thank you,
open.
ma'am. With this, I'll conclude my session.
The session is open for discussion now. You can unmute and interact with the resource person, or you can post the queries in the chat box also. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Sir, hello. Am I
Yes,
audible?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I would like to ask one question. That how to avoid plagiarism while writing any paper? If I want to need image, okay, some photograph, some image, or any algorithm as it is. So can I take from this reference paper? So
No,
without
ma'am. Suppose, see, for example,
writing.
if you write any papers with related to algorithms and all, obviously you may need some pseudocodes and the flowcharts, right? That is what you want to ask, right, no, ma'am? Hello, can you hear
I
me,
want
ma'am?
to use flowcharts from others' papers.
No, ma'am. So the thing is, you are not allowed to use if you because uh, the copyrights you don't know that with whom the copyrights are there. Right. So if we suppose if you want to use it, what you have to do is you have to get the permission from the author as well as the publisher of that particular paper. Because suppose if that author has published that paper in the subscription based journal, the complete copyright is with that publisher, not with the author. Okay, you have to get the written permission from them. Once you have the written permission, then obviously you can use it. Or else what you have to do is, as I listed some of the tools, with the help of the tools you can you can redraw it and you can use it. You should not use whatever the figure in the paper directly. You cannot use it. You should not use it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. One more question, sir. Some ready
Yeah, please.
paraphrasing softwares are there. Are they reliable or authenticate to use? What
Ma'am,
happens
your voice
sometimes?
is breaking. Can you please repeat it? Your voice is breaking.
Sir, ready-made paraphrasing softwares are there.
Yeah,
Uh, can they reliable? Can we use such software?
ma'am, yes, you can use it, but not for the 100% paraphrasing. You can do it, but it will not give the 100% accurate result. It is better always what you do is whatever the content you read with your own understanding, you try to write it. If you use a paraphrasing tool, sometimes no, it will change the meaning of the entire context. Okay, even the paraphrasing tool, it will change the meaning of the technical words also. So that we will not notice it, that we will keep it in the paper and we'll submit it to reduce the plagiarism. The people will do it, but that time no, if you read the paper, even you lose the technical meaning of the context what you have given in the paper. Okay, it is always better to use your own phrases. Okay, if you use the paraphrases only for certain extent, you can use it. Don't rely 100%, don't rely on that paraphrasing tool on 100%. So it is not reliable, you don't use it. For certain level it's okay, because it will change the meaning of the technical words also. That's a problem. For the formal writing, okay, for the formal writing you can use the paraphrasing, but for the technical writing, when you use it, definitely you'll face problem.
Any
So
other
thank you very
queries?
much.
Any questions there, ma'am, the chat box?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I am from art student, sir. Um, can we use the subtitles of journals, sir? Subtitles.
Subtitles of the journal, what's the meaning of it? I don't understand your question, ma'am. Can
If
you
I am
please?
if I am writing any journal or research paper,
Yeah,
may I include a subtitle, sir?
ma'am, that is actually, it is with regard to the journals, because when you submit the papers to some journals, they itself will ask the subtitle of the paper. So because sometimes the people will give the long title for their publication. So that time they itself will ask what is the short title or subtitle for the paper. That you can use it, but not for all the journals. It depends upon the journal where you are submitting it.
For example, sir, because someone said me, don't use especially journal, don't use the subtitles. That is wrong way. Like that, someone said me, sir.
Yeah,
So
see, that's why I told it is not applicable to all the journals. Very few journals, they have their policy to have the subtitles.
if it is
Even
possible,
when,
we can use it, sir.
yeah, if it is possible, you can use it, but it is better to avoid, because when you go with the subtitle, in the sense it's a kind of a short title of your the main title. That's what we can say. But when you, as I given the guideline, when you write the main title itself, don't exceed more than 10 words. If you follow that guideline, obviously that main title itself like a short title, then that is sufficient to attract the more researchers.
Sir, one
This
more
better.
doubt, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Sir, in the introduction, I'm a literature student.
Yeah.
In the introduction part, maybe if I am taking a Indian writing in English means I'm going to give a Indian literature. After then, I can continue my story, or else if it is necessary to give about the literature, or else I can go my thoughts, sir.
No, ma'am. The first one, you briefly introduce about your topic. That's what I told. No, suppose if you work on the solar photovoltaic system, it's a kind of a system we will be using it in the electrical field. So, though your research is in depth in the solar photovoltaic system, what you have to do is you have to introduce briefly about that particular topic. Then you have to introduce the literature study. So, you should not start directly to the literature study. You don't do it. Briefly introduce it, then you start your literature study.
Sir, it
So
is
that is the right way.
yes, sir, it is applicable for a journal and then a research paper, even though, sir.
For all the write-ups, ma'am, even if it is a
Oh,
review paper or the research paper or if it is a conference paper write-up, wherever you're writing and wherever you want to publish those write-ups in the journals or the conferences, definitely this format you have to follow. This is what the people are expecting. As a reviewer, as an editor of many journals, even I'm also expecting the same. So that is what the expectation. So that you have to follow it.
okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
thank you.
So can we publish conference paper in journal?
Yes, obviously you can do it. So the thing is, minimum you have to change the 60 percentage of the content. Suppose if you have a conference paper, okay, you can go as that conference paper as an extended version. You have to do minimum 60 percentage of the corrections in the conference paper. Then you can submit the paper to the journal also. When you submit the paper to the journal, they itself will ask, okay, is it any partial content is published or not? So if it is a conference paper, you say yes, and just there itself you mention this is what the paper I published. Even that conference paper need to be cited in the main journal paper. If you follow all these things, yes, you can go for the journal publications also. But minimum requirement is 60 percentage of corrections are required in the conference paper.
What is the
Even,
difference between
ma'am?
what is the difference between literature survey and review articles, sir?
Yeah. So literature survey review is both are same. In the literature survey, what actually the people will do is they will be giving the brief summary about the particular paper in the literature survey. But in the review paper, what they will do, no, they will discuss about the drawback and they will discuss about the advantage and they will discuss about the methodology and they will discuss about the challenges and they will discuss about the future scope of that particular paper. So the detailed study will be done in the review paper. But in the literature study, it is a kind of a brief summary of that particular paper. So that is what actual difference between literature study and the review papers.
Can we publish PhD thesis in a journal, sir?
Suppose if the content is nowhere it is used, yes, you can go for the publication. If the content, the plagiarism content is less, yes, you can go for the publication if it is not published anywhere. Even that is what actually the for the PhD scholars and all, what is the mandate is, they first they'll go for the publication, then after that they'll be writing the thesis. The thesis will be written based on what they have published and what they have done and what they have published it. So this is the way the people will do. Suppose if any of the chapter is not published anywhere, yes, you can go for the publications.
Any other queries?
The published content you cannot publish again once again.
Any other questions? So I think there are no more questions, sir. Shall we wind up, sir?
Yes, sure, ma'am, sure.
On behalf of IoT Academy, we thank Dr. Prem Kumar Manoharan, sir, for the enlightening, enriching, interactive, and informative session. We thank you once again for the excellent and amazing presentation, sir. We thank you for enhancing our knowledge with the commendable presentation. We thank you very much for your efforts, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I thank all the participants who are joining the session today. Kindly submit the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box. Thank you all.
I think I could say one simple question. Is the cover letter mandatory? So one of the faculty have asked, I think Shiba madam, is the cover letter mandatory? Yes, as I told, the cover letter is mandate. As I told, once you submit the paper, your paper will be read by the editor-in-chief. He or she will not read the complete paper. They will check the cover letter. That's what I told in the cover letter itself. You give the brief summary of your paper and the scope of the paper with regard to that particular journal. You have to mention everything in the cover letter. So once they read the cover letter, they'll come to know that, okay, the areas falls within the scope. Even if you have cited any papers with in that particular journal, even that also you can list it. So from that basic understanding, he will through the paper, or else you'll get, most of the time you will get desk rejection because of poor cover letter. So cover letters are mandatory if you go with any of the quality publishers like IEEE, elsewhere, Spencer, etc. That's it, ma'am. Yeah, thank you once again.
So there is one more question, sir. Can I read, sir?
Yes, ma'am, please.
What are the key aspects that are supposed to be included in a research paper and not in the review article?
Yeah, so the research paper, as I told, the key aspect is the methodology and the result section. So methodology, it is because this methodology is specific to the research. And the results and discussion section is, this is with respect to the particular methodology what you have proposed it. But in the review paper, you will be reviewing the broad aspect of the paper, right? Broad aspect of the research. So there you will not talk much about the methodology. You'll be talking about the advantages, drawbacks, and methodology, what they have used it. You're not testing it and you're not validating it. But in research paper, you'll be testing and you'll be validating it. This is the main difference, the key difference between the research and review papers. I hope you got the point. If you have some more questions, you can contact me, not a problem.
Yes, sir. Once again, we thank you, sir. We thank you very much for your
Thank you,
efforts.
ma'am.
It was an
Thank you
amazing
very
session,
much.
sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all.